This interview isn't easy to hear, and if you've never lived inside of addiction, fear, or desperation, you might want to judge it. But I want you to listen first, because what you're about to hear isn't rumor and it's not speculation. It's lived experience. Tonight, you're going to hear from a woman who was once used as a confidential informant. Not a headline. She's not a statistic. She's a real person. And she didn't come forward for attention. She didn't come forward to accuse anyone either. She came forward because she agrees that silence is what keeps the system alive. Now, people like to believe there is a safe side, that if you cooperate, you're protected. They think that if something goes wrong, someone will step in. But that the reality is far more dangerous, because when you're addicted, poor and scared, or you're facing jail, you're not negotiating, you're surviving. And when the streets think you're talking and the system sends you back anyway, there's no safe place left to stand. Now, what you're about to hear explains why women like Sydney Bryson don't just fall through the cracks, they're pushed. Listen closely. I want to thank you for taking the time to educate us and to answer our questions. Now, we've agreed to keep your identity confidential for safety reasons. Let's start off by talking about what kind of pressure do people in addiction face from both the streets and law enforcement?
It's constant. The streets control you through drugs, debt, and fear. Law enforcement pressures you when you're desperate. Jail, withdrawal, losing your kids. Once you agree, you're trapped in the middle. The streets think you're a snitch. Police send you back anyway. If you get hurt or die, it's written off as your fault. You're not protected. You're used.
So there's no safe side, right? I mean, you're squeezed from both directions. And the minute you agree to anything, you're really paying a price already. Which brings us to the next question. Because once people think you're cooperating, things change fast. How dangerous is it to be labeled a snitch, even if it's not true?
It's deadly. You don't need proof. You don't need paperwork. You don't even need to actually talk. Once that label sticks, you're marked. People test you, watch you. And some decide you're a risk that needs removed. False or true doesn't matter. Belief is enough to get someone hurt or killed.
So what are some common ways people get approached to work as a CI, a confidential informant?
Usually at your lowest point, after an arrest, while you're sick, scared, or facing charges. Sometimes in a holding cell, sometimes in a hallway. It's framed as help us and we'll help you. But when you're desperate, it doesn't feel like a choice and it feels like the only way out.
So there's no lawyer, no clear explanation, and no cooling off period? Just fear and promises made at the worst moment of someone's life. And once that offer is made, the risk should be clear. But are they? I mean, do officers explain the risk honestly, or is it more of like a deal under pressure? You can be honest.
It's usually a deal under pressure. The risks are downplayed. You hear about benefits, not consequences. And once you say yes, the danger becomes your problem, not theirs.
Well, what promises are people usually given?
Maybe reduced charges, could be help with warrants or time off a sentence. It could sometimes be money or protection, not guaranteed. Most of it is verbal. Very little of it is real.
Then why do it? I mean, honestly, explain, please.
Because the alternative feels worse. Jail, withdrawal, losing your kids, getting hurt on the street. When you're desperate, it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like the only way out, even if it puts you in more danger.
And I hear that a lot. And that difference between what's said and what's lived, well, that's where people get hurt. Now listen, I want to ask you, are women treated differently than men when it comes to CIs?
No, you don't get trained. They tell you who to talk to and what they want to know. That's it. Nobody teaches you how to stay alive when people start asking questions.
Well, that's just terrifying. And it's something most people never consider. Now listen, are CIs ever given actual protection at all? Or is it more like they're on their own?
Yes, absolutely. Women get judged faster and punished harder. They're seen as disposable, untrustworthy, and easy to silence. Rumors stick to women longer, spread faster, and turn violent quicker.
Yeah, seriously, women do get judged faster and punished harder. They're seen as disposable, unworthy, and easy to silence. That's my opinion. Rumors stick to women longer, they spread faster, and turn violent quicker. And this matters to me personally because as a woman, I know how fast judgment lands on us and how slow protection shows up. When men are suspected, they're questioned. When women are suspected, they're discarded. And once that rumor sticks, the danger escalates fast. Now, listen, do you feel people are properly trained or prepared before being sent to dangerous CI situations?
No, you don't get trained. They tell you who to talk to and what they want to know. That's it. Nobody teaches you how to stay alive when people start asking questions.
Well, that's just terrifying. And it's something most people never consider. Now, listen, are CIs ever given actual protection at all? Or is it more like they're on their own?
You're on your own, and that's it. Once they get what they want, you're back on the street with a target on you. No backup, no safe place, nothing.
So, how much does law enforcement actually check on their CIs afterwards? Like after the job's done, after the bust has been made, arrest's been made, then what happens? I mean, do they check on them? They keep updated?
At first, maybe a call. After that, nothing. If something goes wrong later, they act like they don't know you anymore.
Yes, and that silence, it speaks volumes. From what you've seen, what are the biggest fears that people have about working with law enforcement? What makes them scared about law enforcement and working with them?
Getting labeled a snitch, getting jumped, getting killed, and knowing that if it happens, nobody's going to claim you or protect your family.
Well, yeah, that fear doesn't end when the case does. Do you think officers understand the danger that they put people in? Or do you think that they simply just ignore it? Do you think it even matters?
Some know and don't care. Some pretend it's not that bad. Either way, it's not their body out there. It's yours.
What's one thing that regular people like me, people that they don't understand what the CI world is actually like? Tell our listeners about that, please.
People think it's official. Paperwork, rules, protection. It's not. It's messy. It's verbal. It's favors, pressure, and fear. Once your name gets whispered, you don't get to explain yourself.
What myths about confidential informants would you correct if you could?
That CIs get rewarded, that they're protected, that it's a job. Most CIs aren't criminals trying to be slick. They're scared people trying not to lose everything at once.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Listen, if you could change one thing about how CIs are handled, what would it be?
Put it in writing. Every time. Real rules, real safety plans. Don't send people back into danger just because they're poor, addicted, or disposable.
Okay, last question, please. Do you believe someone like Sydney could slip through the cracks?
Yeah, absolutely. Women like her slip through all the time, especially when they're struggling, isolated, and surrounded by people with power over them. It doesn't take a conspiracy, just silence and nobody stepping in.
And that right there, that's exactly why we're having this conversation. What you just heard wasn't theories and it wasn't politics. And it wasn't anti law enforcement rhetoric either, folks, okay? It was the cost of silence, the cost of verbal deals, and the cost of using people without protecting them. It was the cost of treating vulnerable lives as expendable tools. Women like Sydney's don't just die because they're reckless. Sometimes they die because the systems use them, and then they step back when the danger shows up. And here's the part that we can't ignore. You don't have to be a confidential informant to be killed like one. I keep stressing that. You just have to be believed to be one. That belief, that rumor is enough on the streets. Now, this interview exists so none of my listeners can say I didn't know, because now you do. If this changed you, how you see an addiction, or maybe informants or trafficking, I want you to share it, please. If you stayed quiet because you were afraid, well, don't be afraid anymore. And if you know something about Sydney Bryson's final days, now is the time. It's time, people. Silence protects the wrong people. And we're done protecting silence, okay? Folks, I wanted to thank you for listening. and being here and supporting us. And please share this, share it widely. As always, be safe, stay alert, and never stop seeking justice.